KCTV5 political analyst Pete Mundo from the morning show on 710 KCMO Talk Radio and former Kansas City Mayor Sly James are back to talk about the big issue in this election.
Okay, guys, so the pandemic obviously playing a huge role in this year's election. We just heard from election officials talking about the PPE that's going to be available when you go to the polls on Tuesday to vote. Is this what people are focused on? The number of deaths, the rising cases, just everything, the economy. Is this, do you think, the number one issue, or are voters still concerned about traditional hot button issues like abortion, guns, things like that? We'll start with you, Sly.
Well, I think, frankly, that if you understand that this did not go away in April or Easter like had been talked about, and that we are not turning the corner, then COVID is probably a top-of-mind issue. If, on the other hand, you believe that this is a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese or some other nefarious group, then you're probably focused on guns and abortion and other social issues. So it's an ideological split. I think the other thing, too, is that if your focus is on us and we, as in us in this country, need to work together so that we can all survive, as opposed to I and me, I don't believe in this and this is not good for me, then I think those will determine which of those sets of issues you're focused on as well. At the end of the day, we need to come to grips with the idea that this pandemic is not something to toy with. It's not going away. The numbers are ridiculously high and climbing, and they don't seem to be fading. And in times of disruption, there are also opportunities for innovative thought. And what I'd really like to see us focusing on is dealing with this in a way that helps keep people in jobs as long as possible, brings down the misery level of people that are caught between the rock and the hard place economically, and also to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep the virus itself from simply spreading like wildfire through the entire population.
Pete, the president has been downplaying the pandemic on the campaign trail, as we just heard that he insists that we're turning the corner. Some political pundits have suggested the president should have taken the virus more seriously. Your thoughts?
Well, I think it's important to a couple of Sly's points, differentiate between the president's rhetoric on COVID and what the administration has done on COVID. And I think that these are two different things, and it's not right that they're two different things. I will admit that. But when you're seeing a country like Germany, Germany has been a country that people have said has done a great job on contact tracing, wearing masks, doing all that. And they, the past 2 months, have seen a 1,300% increase in COVID cases. When the president says we're turning the corner, what I mean and what I think he means is we're turning how we deal with it, learning how to live with it, protecting the people that need to be protected. But you know, Sly, you've run a major city. You can't shut down an economy because the downside of that is so drastic, and we saw that play out the last few months. So I think with the therapeutics we have, learning to live with it is the play that the president's making here, and I believe that there are people all over the country who are sympathetic to that and are feeling that after the past few months.
Well, I agree with you. I do think we need to look at what the administration has done, because the administration, if you do look at that, you'll understand that when he says turning the corner, he's not saying anything other than, hey, this is gone. Listen to me, the shiny bauble over here, and don't pay any attention to what is really going on, which is exactly what he said at the beginning when he said this is a deadly virus, more deadly than the flu, but I'm not going to tell anybody because I don't want them to panic. He said it was going to be gone by Easter. And the administration in and of itself has perpetuated that by muzzling scientists who are out there saying something different than him. Totally, when's the last time either he or the vice president have been at a COVID committee meeting? And then bringing in a radiologist out of California off of Fox News to run the government's campaign against the virus. So a radiologist working on a virus is like a baseball pitcher doing heart surgery. They don't go together.
But what I still have not seen is anything from Joe Biden and what he would do vastly different to save all these people's lives when he's saying Donald Trump killed 200,000 people. And anyone of reason understands that's just not true.
Well, one thing that he'd do is he wouldn't be running around holding big meetings with people without masks and spreading the virus like it's some sort of a thing for his own personal benefit. So don't even act like you're smiling here, because you know that's exactly what he's doing.
I'm smiling because Joe Biden couldn't get 50 people to show up if he tried to a rally. That's the problem for Joe.
Well, that's what you think, and that's obviously not what you know, because Joe Biden is leading in the polls, and he ain't doing it because he's prettier than Donald Trump. After all, nobody works more in his hair than Donald.
We can agree on that. We can agree on that.
Hey, we finally found something that you both can agree on. All right, thank you both very much, and we will see you just a little bit later on